I now present to you 10 fun facts about Marie Antoinette's hair! 1. Marie Antoinette's hair was far from perfect. 2 of her biggest physical flaws, as it was seen at the time, were 1. Her high forehead, which was not fashionable, and 2. Her uneven hairline. Anyway, her hairdressers constantly tried to cover up those 2 aspects. 2. During Marie Antoinette's time, powder was king. People would not show up to the French court without having their hair totally powdered, which involved a process of covering yourself in this huge cape and then having someone blow all this powder over your head and then fix it with this thing called pomatum. Now, the powder at the time was made usually of either potato or rice starch or something called cypress powder, which is actually made from reindeer moss or other similar lichens. And then sometimes people would add in color and perfume to that. And then, of course, pomatum is just sort of like a scented oil that people would put onto the hair to fix the powder in place. 3. Marie Antoinette had a diva hairdresser. His name was Leonard. He had a salon in Paris, and he was so important that he could only come and dress Marie Antoinette's hair 1 day a week on Sundays. Every other day of the week, one of his assistants did Marie Antoinette's hair. It was typically an assistant known as Le Beau Julien, and well, he was fun too, but no one was like Leonard. In fact, one woman of the French court really summed it up perfectly. She wrote to someone once, "Leonard came, he came and was king." So yeah, he's a total diva. 4. Marie Antoinette, with the help of her diva hairdresser Leonard, pioneered the poof, the crazy conical hairstyle that is maybe the very height of ridiculous hairstyles. The poof made its debut on Marie Antoinette's hair in 1774 at the coronation of Louis XVI, her husband, and made huge waves. 5. Hairstyles during the time of Marie Antoinette were kind of used the same way that we use witty t-shirts today, which is to say that they had their own special commentary on people's states of their lives or certain current events or crazes or memes, as it were. For example, if someone had just had a baby, or if you were expecting, you might have like a little nurse or baby figurine stuck in your giant hair. Or you might have an American Revolution themed hairstyle, or some ship stuck in there, or something else commemorating a big fashionable event. Just the same way that we have special shirts for all sorts of trendy things or life stages in our own time. 6. Marie Antoinette's hairdressers had to do some major damage control during her time as queen. Around 1776, Marie Antoinette's hair started to thin and maybe fall out. This was thought to be a consequence of her depression at the time because her marriage wasn't going so great, and probably was also due to the stresses of being the Queen of France, but I also think that a lot of the hairstyling that was constantly done to her poor hair had something to do with this development. 7. The poof was not Marie Antoinette's only signature style. To deal with a lot of the damage that was done to Marie Antoinette's hair, Leonard had to improvise and develop some new hairstyles that kind of accommodated the shorter and more haggard look that her hair had. So he developed a sort of feathered fro thing that had a little bit of a shorter hairstyle and was a little bit more informal. Now, because this new hairstyle was developed around the birth of her first son, the future king of France, the hairstyle was actually very popular and was nicknamed, I'm gonna mangle this, coiffure à l'enfant. Fun fact 8! Marie Antoinette got nervous too, and one of her nervous tics was to run her fingers through her hair. But hey, if you have a nervous habit of running your fingers through your hair, and your friends give you a hard time about it, you can always say, hey listen, Marie Antoinette did it, I can do it too. 9! Marie Antoinette's hair went gray pretty early. People first started noticing gray hairs in Marie Antoinette's head around age 31 for her, and her hair became progressively grayer and then whiter pretty soon after that. In letters and such to friends, Marie Antoinette described this change in hair color to various stressful events that were going on in her life, such as trying to flee the country and the French Revolution. 10! Marie Antoinette's final haircut was from her executioner. His name was Charles Henri Sansom, and he was a fourth-generation executioner, so good for him and his family. But yeah, it was standard protocol to cut off all of someone's hair with big, non-fun shears before cutting their head off as a final insult to fatal injury. So it happened to Marie Antoinette, and unfortunately it didn't look so hot, but yeah, Marie Antoinette's end of life time was kind of a bummer. That said, we will always remember Marie Antoinette for her good hair days, and thank goodness for those because they were amazing. I hope you found those 10 fun Marie Antoinette hair facts to be interesting, and come on guys, let's bring back the poof. Seriously.